Hi, my name's Gary Barwell. I'm Head of Sports, Turf and Grounds at Edgbaston Stadium. I'm currently been here now 10 years. I started in cricket in 1993 at Leicestershire, which seems a very long time ago now. I then moved to become a Deputy Head Groundsman at Nottinghamshire, Trent Bridge, in 2009 to look after the World 2020 practice facilities. Spent 3 fabulous years there, and then had the opportunity to come to Edgbaston in 2011 to become Head Groundsman, which has now changed to Head of Sports Turf. Originally I came in that looked after the main ground and a small little practice area with 6 members of staff. I'm now in charge of 3 sites: Edgbaston Stadium, which is the main ground that you see on the TV, a practice venue that's adjacent to the main ground, and a new satellite ground which is about 3 miles away on Portland Road. We now currently have 10 members of staff, of which 9 are full-time and 1's a full-time summer contract staff, which grows to probably 3 or 4 more people that work through the big match days, the test matches, the one-day internationals, just to help with covers. When I first started here, I looked after probably about 40 pitches, a couple of outfields, and generally it was just the match days, and we had 20 games a season of first-class cricket. I now look after 91 match pitches, 3 outfields, 2 training complexes, cricket probably 130 days a year, and we have 48 games this season alone. So our increase has gone up double. That means as well we also have all our second team cricket based at our academy ground, which has got 3 staff that are under my team, which make up the 10. So every Warwickshire age group cricket plays at our academy, and we've got now 21 nets that's also up there. So we've got 21 nets up at our academy ground, which opened this year. That's all for all the women's games in the academy. We've got 24 pitches out in the middle, and the rest are made up of the practice pitches at Edgbaston, which are used every day, probably 9 in the morning till 7 at night. And again, that's because some of the professionals, obviously for the men's, are full-time, but some of the women's professional teams in the academy have jobs as well. So we have to provide facilities for the evening for them to train at the same time. So yeah, on a typical test match morning or test match day, generally on average we're probably here about 5 in the morning. That starts probably leaving home at 4, so we get here for 5. First job is all the covers will come off out in the middle. That'll all be out here. 2 of the guys will then jump straight onto outfield ALLETT Regals, and the field will be hopefully cut 2 ways before match day starts. That's the same for every day of the match. That'll be cut at 12 mil. One of my other team will then pick up an ALLETT Buffalo, and the square will be cut to the same height as been cut the day before, which will be 12 mil. I'll then be starting to work on the match pitch when the umpires arrive, which is about 9 o'clock. That'll be cut at the height that it's set through for the match. Be marked out. Any footholes will be done through the match where the bowlers have run through, and then we're into game time. We're on watching the game, which is a nice part, but also that's for any stump breakages, any damage on the field, any marking out that needs to be done between, in drinks breaks. Lunch, we come and work on the pitches. If we've got a championship pitch or another match pitch in preparation, we can work on them in that interval. Then we go through to tea. Same principles apply. We come out, tidy up. Any footholes need checking. Then we get to the end of the night, which is usually around 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock comes, then all my team will come out. Somebody will look after one of the next match pitch that we're preparing for a Warwickshire game. Another one will take the uplift out and we'll clean the square up of debris, any damage. The rest of the team then are just tidying up. That takes us to about 7:30, nearly 8 o'clock. Ground will be covered, fully covered, and then we'll just put, maybe if we've got a water programme in place, which is talked about before, if it's a hot spell, we'll put the water on the outfield, and we'll maybe water the square a little bit, and hopefully we'll be left with the ground for 9 o'clock at night. That's generally all 5 days, weather dependent, and then back home probably 10 o'clock at night, and then we go again for day 2. So on the main square at Edgbaston we have 21 pitches. Each pitch is classed as a first class pitch. It's treated exactly the same. 5 of them in the middle are hybrids, which is where there's stitching involved, and they can only be used for one-day cricket. But each pitch is determined at the start of the season when we see our fixture list. There's 17 first class pitches because of the boundary sizes and dimensions. And every pitch is, we talk about at the start of the season, and if we've got quite a lot of TV games, they have to be central because of the TV boxes and the gantries and the camera views. And dependent on what profile games we've got, they go centrally for selling out the ground. So each pitch now in my office is a pitch plan which gets sent to ECB at the start of the year, and it allots every pitch for every game, dependent on, the only thing that changes that is whether it's any scar or damage, and we go through. Yeah, the ideal match pitch, in my opinion, for 4-day cricket is one that offers good carrying bounce in all areas throughout the game. So any defence, any nicks from the batters carries to the slip cordon or the keeper. Probably day 1, there's a little bit in there for the bowlers for the first couple of hours. Then it flattens out for a couple of days, consistent bounce and carry, and then spinners will come into the game later on. On a 1-day pitch, it's all about the runs and the wickets, and for me, all about the runs and the boundaries. So you want to see good carry and bounce, consistent, and basically the ball travelling to the boundary to see nice high run scoring game. So all 24 wickets at Edgbaston, well actually all 91 wickets at Edgbaston have R9, Rigby Taylor's grass seed. It's a perennial ryegrass. I've worked with it a lot. It's always worked really well for us. So that's why we use it. We do experiment with other ones. So it's whatever suits you at your ground. Regarding the soil structure here, we're on Onga Plus. Again, it's what suits your ground. Stick to the soils that are good for your particular ground. But we use Onga Plus, so we carry on top dressing with Onga Plus. That's how we do it. And that's all the same for all the pitches at Edgbaston. So it's continuity for batters and bowlers wherever they are. And then regarding on the main square and on our nets, we've got something called a hybrid pitch. A lot of people call them hybrids, so for want of this video, it's hybrids, but they're basically stitched grass, so stitched fibres, nylon fibres down to about 8 centimetres to hold the pitch together. I think there's about 5,000 of them in at 2 mil spacings, and basically they're there to hold the pitch together better. So it doesn't make a bad pitch good, it doesn't make a very good pitch poor. What it does do, it makes a very good pitch or a good pitch last longer. So probably where it would have lasted 2 or 3 days and deteriorated, it then lasts 10 days and deteriorates. What that's really good for is for one-day cricket, when we've got a lot of fixtures back to back and we can play the same pitch in the centre, which then means we can then utilise the square a little bit more for other fixtures. So each match pitch here at Edgbaston is cut roughly the same. We don't cut through the process of so if you look at the main square at Edgbaston now, it's cut at 12 mil, the same as the outfield, and that's for speed of ball running across it, and that's a nice height for the grass to establish on. But each match pitch we determined, obviously we spoke earlier about determining when we're going to use it, and then we decide that's the pitch. So what we start to do, and you can see the one behind me is going to be our next championship game. Everybody assumes we cut it every day. We don't. What we do is we start the rolling process 14 days out when it's ready and the moisture's right in it. And then what we do is after every roll we brush it. Now that might be with just a normal drag brush, or we sometimes use the Sisis combi rake brush on there. And basically we brush that after every time of use. And what you find is that having more grass hopefully protects the surface from cracking. Hopefully it adds carrying bounce, but we're trying to keep the grass, but we're also stopping it from going sideways movement. So the idea is if we can keep the sideways movement restricted, we don't get exaggerated seam movement. So if it swings, then there's not a lot we can do about that. But we try and keep match pitches between 7 mil for one-day pitches and about 12 mil for 4-day pitches. And what that does is it helps protect the surface from the elements. Also, sometimes you can find where people think if you cut shorter it gets harder. You can find that the grass being a bit longer draws more moisture out of the plant to then make it actually harder and truer. So each match pitch is, we tend to obviously roll it from the start, and is obviously everybody sees that they're green because there's plenty of moisture in the plant. So we start rolling process 14 days out. Then 2 days after the process has started, what we start to do is to try and get more air movement around the plant. We just start to brush, just lightly, no mechanical, just by hand with you know, the drag brushes that you can buy anywhere. And then probably when the stability is in the plant and the pitch is a bit firm and you can walk on it, that's when we start using the proper Sisis combi rate brush. And then what we do is we're looking at how the grass is reacting to the combi rate brush. So it's not an exact science of, oh, we do it 100 times, 250. We see how it's reacting. So do we want it to go too fluffy for one-day cricket, where you just rub your hands over, it's nice. What you're trying to do is just take enough moisture out of the plant to stop seam movement. Each pitch at Edgbaston is rolled with the auto roller, probably 8 to 10 hours, dependent on time of year. Always minimum of 8, and then dependent on, like I say, time of year is how much more we do and how strong the grass is. The reason we roll is to bring moisture to the surface and also give the pitch a surface. So originally you do it so you get a nice surface, it's nice and flat and true. And the second reason is the more moisture you bring to the surface, that then dries off. Again, it will stop the pitch from cracking. So we do, so like with 4 or 5 days, sorry, with 14 days to go, that's when we do our bigger amount of rolling, probably 2 hours a day. And then we gradually take that down to maybe like a day. We're 4 days away from the game. So what we'll do is a nice steady 10 minutes every 2 hours and a light brush. We might not brush so much now just because the game's getting closer, but generally this is what we use. It's an auto roll, it weighs about 2 tonne, and we gradually get less and less. It's all about optimum rolling, doing it at the right times rather than just doing it for the sake of doing it. So every first class match at Edgbaston, we have to do a number of things for match referee reports. One of them is a clegg, which is in front of us now, and that's just basically to see how hard the pitch is. We record that ourselves anyway. It basically gives us inclination of what the pitch, how hard the pitch is. It's not one of those things where you go chasing numbers, the higher the number, the more it's going to bounce. That's not always true. So basically what we find here, anything over 180 with the clegg reading means that you know, there's no indentations going to be on the pitch. So just to give you some perspective of that, a Premier League football club for one of these pitch would be 80. We're looking at probably on average about 230, 240 upwards per match pitch. You can see the difference in hardness. That gives us that. We also take moisture readings out of the pitch with a feeder probe, and again we want it around the 30 to 33 mark, which then gives us a good indication that the pitch is going to hold together nicely. And they're the things we start to do. These all get fed into a match referee's report with the pitch number, amount of hours rolling, have we used the pitch before, and that goes onto a database that apparently we can get hold of, but I've never quite saw one. And then the match referee will make how the pitch plays will be how the pitch is marked, from 6 to very good down to 2 to below average. So through the season, we do a number of tasks at Edgbaston. We've rather than have contractors in, we've brought everything in-house. This ranges from verti-cutting, square outfield, to hollow coring, to verti-draining, to sand spreading, seeding. Every job that you see done at Edgbaston to keep the grass healthy, fertilising, spraying, we all do ourselves in my team. Everything's done in-house purely so we can be on it on a given day when we can actually have a chance to get on it when the weather's good. During this winter, it's been really disappointing to see the number of criticism groundsmen across the country have got, whether that be amateur to professional game. We all do our job to the best we can. We all work really hard, and behind every pitch there's a person. I think when you say that all pitches are poor in this country, I think that's a really bad place to be in an industry that's really striving to get staff in, youngsters in, a more diverse workforce. I don't think it helps. I think we've got very good pitches in all sports. I think we're world leaders in a lot of them, and I just think it's very disrespectful to just lay blame at one certain occupation's door for what's it. But then unfortunately that's the world we live in now. A quick line on a TV, people don't see there's a consequence.